Right. So the first one is an ad for Asda. Okay. So first of all, we have an advert for children's school uniform. And now we go to Zoopla, which is an estate agent.
Sullivan's found 83 Line Road through Zoopla. It really was the perfect fit and a pretty good price for the area. But what clinched it for them was the extra bedroom for Billy, who's currently feeling like an absolute boss. Because he no longer has to share a room with his little brother. Dylan. Zoopla. We know what a home is really worth.
Okay. So might seem like, now how do I get back to my screen down here? Right. This might seem like a strange place to start. However,
if you just click there.
There we go. How do I get to my, right, we're getting there. I haven't got very steady hands. So
There we are.
there we go. Right. So Georgia Asda, you can't get more mainstream than adverts for children's school uniform on a drill beat. On a drill beat. The second one, Zoopla, is a grime track by Lethal B, celebrating its 20th year just recently, was banned in most places. You couldn't play it in nightclubs. In fact, when I was doing the field research for my PhD, I went to a nightclub in Romford, I know, and it said in the box, no grime, no grime. And the DJ who was on rotation forgot, started to play PAL. The night ends. It was supposed to go until 3. It stopped at 11:30. Everyone had to go home. So PAL was banned. So in 20 years, we've gone from a track that's banned to a track that's on a estate agent's ad. We're thinking about surveillance control and when things become mainstream. So what I'm saying is, what if we listened? What if we zoomed out? And a while back, I wrote a paper with Johnny Alan, which was a kind of ethnographer sound clash, where we did just that. And I also write about some of the things that I'm going to talk about in my latest book, like Lockdown Never Happened. We can pierce through the thick layer of racism and stereotypes that looks at Black cultural production through these unhelpful cliches of violence and indeed the gang. What can appear to be aggressive can in fact be a much more ambivalent and mournful expression of suffering and a prefiguration of what is required to overcome it. So I'm going to show some clips. Now I will need help. Now I'm going to show some clips from a series of tracks here that show Black British contemporary musical forms. And we're going to start with Lady Leisha, who's an MC from Birmingham.
So you can just click.
I can just click from there. Thank you. Right, so we'll stay here for a bit. So Lady Leisha, by way of introduction, is a Birmingham MC. A person that hops on different genres. Her wordplay's complex. She's clever. She's articulate. And this track is a response to a diss from another rapper, Ivorian Doll. So we'll play a little bit of this.
Yeah. They don't want it with the queen, man. No. Love. I'm not the one, but I'm the one. Go around the globe and no one but done. I didn't even need to reply.
Oh, sorry. Let me go back.
Everyone?
How do I know the excess? Let me go back.
Just go on the back.
Gerard.
Yeah, there.
There we go. You get to hear it again.
Yeah. They don't want it with the queen, man. No. Love. I'm not the one, but I'm the one. Go around the globe and no one but done. I didn't even need to reply. I was just bored. I wanted some fun. I had to do this many for rum. Once I got out of a gal, you dumb. You put it all on yourself, you're a punk. Say it for me, now you're putting it on. You don't want smoke. I'll keep it blunt. Look, it's a publicity stunt. Trying to make it seem like it's because of my video when it's been 1 year and 9 months.
Okay. So Lady Lisha, the record is called the track's called DIV, and it's a response to another rapper called Ivorian Doll. If you play around with the initials, it also reads, so DIV are Ivorian Doll's initials, but div in some slang also means someone who's not very bright. And so she releases this track on Ivorian Doll's birthday, because she says, I didn't want to release it in Black History. I didn't want to kill her in Black History Month. So she releases it on the other MC's birthday. And so we have 3 minutes and 41 seconds of this kind of rapid, aggressive posturing that's pretty humorous throughout. And the other interesting thing is that not a single swear word, not one. Right, so we're in the combats, we're in the car park, all of that. Moving on to, I'm missing one. I'm missing Gets.
Oh, sorry.
I'm missing Gets.
Let's get it up.
So while we're getting up the next track, so Gets is an East London artist, recording artist, who also works across different genres. And in February 2021, he released his third studio album called Conflict of Interest. So the track IC3, there you go. The track IC3, I'm going to play a bit of it now, speaks to the challenges and contradictions of being a young Black man in Britain. And he talks about the collective amnesia that ignores Britain's colonial past and that cannot reconcile belonging with Black skin. And so it means that this particular refrain of go back to where you came from, that's leveled at Black people wherever they are, Gets refuses this. And instead, he foregrounds Britain's role in its colonizing projects. And so there's a line in there that says, don't tell me to go back where I came from while the Queen sits there in stolen jewels. So we'll have a bit of Gets just to locate ourselves.
Black attire, jaw back and fire. I think get the brand out. Push back for higher. Two clip for the train. And two clip for the train. Two clip for the train. We now about them and Berry. We now about Chris and Semi. We are now about Chris. We are now about Gets and Skeppy.
I feel like I'm born again. Being Gets on the track and it's feeling like the rooftop all again. Giving fire in that corner again.
I'm going to pause there just at the point that Skepta comes in, who's another MC, and also goes on in that same track to he's of Nigerian heritage, and he goes on to talk about returning or refusing an MBE, and instead taking up a chieftaincy in Nigeria because that he feels that's more appropriate for him. The next one is I'm multitasking. The next one is Heady One. And this is a track called, I've done it again. Apologies.
No, don't worry. Is that the right one? Or
No, I
go back to
just need to go back to
which
Heady One, which was just before that one.
There.
There you go,
There
that's
it
the
is.
one. So
I
Heady,
don't know why it's disappeared.
I think it's me.
You can just like close that window, but I can also come up and help you.
So Heady One is a North London rapper, and this track Cold features Cash Page, who's an R&B singer from Dallas, who came to attention via TikTok. Anyway, in this track, Heady One talks about this coming up from the struggle, from council flat life, having minimal resources. He talks about jingling his dinner money in his school uniform pocket, about the closure of the youth centres. He talks about low expectations from teachers and how he's doing so well now, though he's dodging his accountant. He alludes to the challenges in the criminal justice system. He talks about there being a hung jury and no retrial. He got caught up in some of that surveillance of drill that you were talking about earlier. But as well, he thinks about and talks about how having these material gains don't mitigate against the hurt of life in London. And so he talks about having $250,000 of jewelry, but it doesn't stop him feeling pain. In addition, he also says that when you're from where we're from, when you're from ends, any progress, any move that you make is progress. And he says, I'm telling them the sky and above when they ask me what's next, because every step is progress when you come from the trench. So all of these things, the album is actually named after his mum who passed away. So all of these themes are here in this song. So we'll have 30 seconds of hold. Oh, no, we won't. There we go.
No. Oh. It's that I can move mountain. Now my next water fountain. 100's on an outing. Now I'm dodging my accountant. With a big to the council. Why they didn't do rehousing? Felt like I forced the chart and my days will be counting. It really could have been a murder. Imagine me allowed. I used to want to play footy. I used to pray that I get scouted.
Okay. So on to the next one. I'll just close this one.
Yeah.
Am I just here?
Yeah.
Here. One?
Yeah.
Oops. And so I'm moving on to Dave, who's another rapper who moves in within these musical genres. I think sometimes, as I think your question, we get kind of caught up into, well, is it this or is it that? But what I'm saying is that artists move in and between genres and may not necessarily see these categories in the same way that we do. So in July 2021, Dave released his second music studio album. So he moves between rap and drill. And so We're All Alone in This Together came out in July 2021, and he focuses on themes to do with mental health, loneliness, and the challenges for young Black lives in the inner city. On one track, Three Rivers, Dave opts for this more traditional rap beat to reflect on the last 60 years of Britain's migration stories, incorporating aspects of the Windrush story, and it features voices of people from that time as well. So now we have Dave.
Look, it's an island where the party never ends, where it's less about money and it's more about friends, where the vibes can't done. It's less about funding and more about fun. Tropical sun, it's life in the 60s coming from the Caribbean. You know Ian, Delroy, Vivian, Winston. We got drafted to England, Windrush babies from Kingston to Brixton. To say that the life of the party are wrong, my Jamaicans, the entire party. I can't see, big not.
So Dave, right at the end of that track, Daniel Kaluuya, who's an Oscar-winning actor, comes in at the end to talk about switching rivers as a metaphor for that psychic shift from experiencing black as an obstacle to seeing black as an asset. So here's Dave on this kind of very mellow rap track. And now we have Dave featuring Fredo on Funky Friday, a drill tune.
Game. This age, how are them men still hating? My young boy in a different country, but he ain't ever been on vacation. One hand on a girl I'm dating, one hand on the cash I'm making. We come through like Funky Friday.
So we go from Dave rapping to Dave with his drill track that actually got to #1. I think it was one of the first drill tracks to get to #1, and includes all the usual drill rap themes of drugs, knives, guns, luxury goods, and living the high life from the proceeds of criminality. And just finally, this last one, as an example of where social commentary, where art and life collide, is BLM, from, there we go, from OFB. And it was released in the aftermath of the police killing of George Floyd. They rap over a Coldplay track. So Bandicay, Double L's, and Abracadabra highlight incarceration, police brutality, and coming up against an unjust criminal justice system. For Bandicay is especially poignant, as in 2011, his father, Mark Duggan, was shot and killed by police, an act which sparked days of civil unrest. So we'll have a bit of OFB, BLM, and then
Just because we can love each other, don't give you an excuse to do it too. No, no. Mr. Officer, I can't keep this you, but someone that can engage. Yes, no. We're not the generation growing up.
okay. I'm going to go back to my slides now, but the track list is there if you want it. Oh, what have I clicked?
No, it's coming.
Right, there we go. The track list is there if you want it. So what I'm saying is, or one of the things I'm saying is that in the art of listening, Les Back suggests that we should seek the outside story that's also the inside story. In other words, we should look and listen beyond the obvious bravado and toughness of the lyrical expression. And then when we do, what emerges are some common themes. I'm also suggesting that these genres are shaped by craft, creativity, and entrepreneurialism, themes that can be complicated by the embodiment of aspiration and hyper-individualism, that trope of marginality, of coming from the bottom, of going through the struggle, of rising up through music and enterprise is an aspect of transformation that underpins many of these tracks. But what happens when you stack the cash? When you're embedded into and wedded to a neoliberal hegemony that doesn't mitigate against systemic and structural racism? Even in the most aspirational scenario, success cannot ensure friendship and it cannot ensure loyalty. And the ways in which the transformation takes place are evident. You can see how artists cross borders into these possibility of new identities as lyricists, as mentors, as voices of reason, as messengers, as interlocutors from the hood, as well as inside the industry. And in our rush to take fright at these lyrics and to curtail the perceived celebration of criminality, I'm citing you, yeah. What is often missed is the importance of connectedness and friendships. Many artists place family, an aspect that is often muted in both academic and popular literature, at the heart of their tracks. In many instances, the significance of ties of kinship and love and belonging is brought to the fore. Nestled amongst the beat and the swagger, intense conversations can be heard that try to make sense of systems at work and how that relates to individual behaviour, as well as life on the block. Performing grime, UK rap and UK drill allows individuals to display a sonic rendering of their environment. Usually urban, these perspectives are also gendered, reading as a predominantly masculine narrative. However, it's important to note, especially in UK drill, the increasing and significant presence of women MCs. And it's worth reflecting on why that might be. Why now? Why this particular musical sound? And so just to conclude, because I've tripped over all the technology,
Great.
is that music can offer a way for young people from ends to get on. Once this movement's been made, there's the potential for transformation to occur, not only of the environment that has been left temporarily or permanently, but also of the individual who is some way altered in this process. It's evident that for Black youth from poor communities, participation in the contemporary music economy enables a transcendence of the boundaries of the ends. However, success does not shield from everyday surveillance and control. Meanwhile, the commodification and commercialization means that what was once feared is now lauded. So we have estate agents and supermarkets. But there's always a gain for some. At the same time, though, I would argue that these iterations of rap continue in some way to articulate the struggles of the poorest and the least represented.